Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Hello everyone and welcome to Apex Online Racing Hype Energy F1 2020 Tier 1 PC action here. We are once again back on track here at Monza. Only a 13 car grid today, but it is Mother's Day, and happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there that are watching, assuming any are. It's going to be a nice dry qualifying by the looks of it, and the race will be dry as well from what I've been told. And I don't know why I don't have any game volume all of a sudden. Can't even hear it. It's like it's muted. There we go. Much better. So yeah, the question now remains as the drivers go out on track. With 13 drivers, will everyone be going for the softs? Yes, I assume everyone would go for the softs on the wrist, off the rip. But will anyone try to do the reverse strategy and get the top 10 on the mediums? We'll have to keep an eye on it now. But it should be a fun one. Like I said, dry quality, dry race. So definitely leads up some... Definitely should make it an interesting one for to get a whole track map going. There we go. Yeah, we'll keep it on leader right now. Fernandez, one of the first drivers out on track. Keep an eye on him. The Brazilian had a really good race last week. His teammate, though, had a better outing in Deads. And the fact that Deads was able to get on the podium, unless I'm being mistaken. Or was it Fernandez? I do apologize. I am a little under the weather today, so I do apologize for any inconveniences. But hopefully the action we get on track here will be very, very entertaining, I think to say is the right way to put it. Anyways, though, here we go. Fernandez on a flying lap. Let's go on board with him as he takes us through the 10 corners. Well, I think it's 11, actually. 11 corners of the track. Going into the Retifilia chicane. Heavy braking down the third gear. Does he hold third? Yes. Oh, goes down the second briefly, back up the third, short shifting, getting that traction on the exit, and just rocketing now through the Curva Grande, all foot flat to the floor, using all that top speed from that Mercedes-powered engine. Now coming into Variante della Roggia, purple first sector, but he is one of the first ones out on track, using all that exit. A little too much into the gravel, might have cost him a 10th there, but here we go now through Lesmo 1 and Lesmo 2, is keeping it just within the track limits now, pushing very hard. Foot flat on the floor in the run. Does not get a toe from Jan Fehler, who I'm sure did not want to give out any free passes now on the run to Ascari. Braking just after the 100-meter board, taking as much of that apex curve as possible without cutting it, using the track limits very nicely. Very clean Ascari, but I think he might have been able to carry a tad more speed. But now here we come into the final braking zone of the lap as TCU goes fastest all with a 1:18.5. But what does Fernandez have to say? By Blue perfectly matches TCU. How about that to start the session? But now Fernandez in the run up the line. A 1:18.3. That is provisional pole. Not sure how that just happened to Macer Hoffey. He just crashed coming out of... He just crashed on the exit of Ascari. There, it's the Stricken Ferrari, so his session is done. He will not set a time. He will be starting most likely in last place. That is just heartbreak for the Ferrari team. Hopefully his teammate in Max AMG has better fortune and doesn't follow his teammate into the wall there, but heartbreaking stuff for Hoffey. Also got a little bit of a glitch on the bottom of the screen with it saying By Blue just went purple. Christian Sendel just went P2, jumping up the board with an 18.4. Solid lap for the German driver. What does Jan Fehler have to his name? And Lenny PNR also early on an Apple. Let's see if we can clear that race the fastest lap thing there. Now it says Fernandez. Hopefully it disappears on us. Yeah, there we go. Now looking at Jan Fehler. Keep an eye on his sector delta now. He's going purple through sector 2. Hopefully that's legit. But losing a lot of the rear end there. really fighting the car through Ascari as he's trying to carry as much speed as possible. Can Jan Fehler put it on provisional pole here early on in qualifying? He's done it before, and he's looking to carry the momentum that he had 2 weeks ago at Bahrain Short when him and Lenny put out a titanic battle. But now Jan Fehler's going to be the first one to swing. He's going to come up to the line. What kind of lap time will it be? A 118.2. That is provisional pole. What does Lenny have to say, though, in the Renault? Lenny's definitely very familiar to being on the front row of the grid and winning these races. He's won all but one race with Norbert Jacob winning at Suzuka. Lenny, a very, very difficult Ascari. We'll have to see now. Did that hurt him? I didn't get a chance to see the sector time, but Lenny on the run through to Parabolic Canal. What kind of lap time will he do in that run now? He's got an AlphaTauri returning to the pits up ahead, so he won't get any kind of tow or anything. And in the run to the line, Lenny's currently on a scorcher. It's a 117.8. Lenny on provisional pole by a third of a second. What a lap by the Frenchman. Will anyone have an answer? We'll have to wait and see. Was that Max AMG up to the line, up to P4 in the Ferrari? Fantastic lap by the Dutchman. Having a phenomenal lap there in the Ferrari. Who else is on track right now? It looks like we got Patrick. What this Patrick is 51.9 through the middle sector. That was close to what Jan Fehler did. Now on the run to the line, I don't think it's going to be as quick as Lenny's, but he's going to be almost as close, almost as fast as Jan. 5/10 off a pole, but a 118.3. Very strong banker laps for several of these drivers. But Lenny out in front currently, setting the pace. Yes, and hello to all our viewers watching here today. That's fantastic stuff. All the drivers now currently either on an in lap or an out lap. No one currently on a hot lap. So let's go back to our memory banks real fast. We'll think back to Bahrain Short. So we're gonna pull up on the side. I'm gonna just get the drivers' championship up so I can see it, as I forgot to print it out. Yeah, so Lenny has won 4 out of 5 races. He's got a 51-point lead in the championship at this time. In P2 is Christian Sendel, actually. Christian benefiting from not finishing lower than 5th place, which is what he did in round 1. He's been able to keep behind Jan Fehler by 1 point. Fehler, who is currently in the pits, is currently sitting P3. He's got 4 podiums to his name, but at 10th place at Suzuka did not help him. Norbert Jacob is in 4th, as he is the other race winner. And Max AMG is sitting in 5th, so pretty strong performance by Max. The question is, can he break into the top 5? His best finish was a podium in round 1 in Austria, but he has not had the same kind of luck since then. So, and it was Fernandez who had the podium last week, so I do apologize to the Brazilian fan base as I made that small error. But Fernandez looking to carry the momentum and put it on the podium again. I mean, half a second off of pole is a pretty tall mountain around the tempo of speed, but never impossible, that's for sure. Let's see what kind of sector 1 he's going to have here. It's really all about nailing the red affiliate chicane there. He's about even, 25.9. That's a solid sector 1. I think we've seen in previous races, we've seen 25.7s in the previous season through sector 1, so if the drivers can keep it tidy, expect to see some very fast times. But now here we go, onto the back straight. DRS wide open with the Williams driver. On the rundown, did he have a good Lesmos too? I mean, we saw him a little scrappy last time. He's a 10.5 up. This would put him on the front row ahead of Fehler. Keeps it nice and clean through Ascari, using all of the track, just barely. Keeping it within inside the white line, so he should be good here unless he ruins his lap at Parabolica, which I don't think he will. And here comes the Brazilian. A little bit of a lock up there. That's not going to help him as he tries to get that car rotated now. Just a straight shot through the line. What will Fernandez do? A 118.2. So his 3rd sector, not as strong as his previous one, and as a result, he will only go up to 3rd. Let's go look at F1 Racer. He's currently improving on a lap. It seems by a 10th and some change, but he's all the way down in P10, so he's going to want to climb up a little higher than that, and he's going to cross line. He's up to P5. F1 Racer with a phenomenal lap, taking out 2.5 tenths, but absolutely launching him up the leaderboard. Great lap there from F1 Racer. Take a look now. Let's go look at By Blue. What's he on? He's purple through the middle sector. He's 4 tenths up. Blue trying to join his teammate on the front row to be his best qualifying performance of the season. What is Blue going to do through this final sector? Not sure what his previous lap looked like, but can the Renault driver stick it on the front row provisionally? Maybe even challenge his teammate. I mean, that's a tall order considering how dominant Lenny has been. But Blue up to the line. It's an 18-1. That's good enough for second place. Great lap, but Lenny still miles ahead of the field. Does Jan Fehler have an answer now? He is a 10th down, so he is not improving at the moment. His final sector seemed pretty clean last time around, so don't think Jan will improve on this lap. Reyes behind, has not set a lap time just yet, and currently would be, I guess, classified behind Mr. Hoffy. But here goes Reyes. Keep an eye on the Haas drivers. Jan Fehler goes back to the front row and improves. So he had a really good final sector. Reyes, meanwhile, jumps up to P11 after setting his first time. But Jan Fehler up to P2, but still quarter of a second away from Lenny. Is Lenny, kind of lap less Lenny on? He's on an out lap right now, so just keep an eye on Lenny as he goes. See what kind of lap time he can do. As here he goes, crosses the timing line and on the run. He's like using all of that track there brilliantly, just hugging that left-hand side. Now into the heavy braking zone. Getting all that curb and the apex, eating all of that up. Keeping it nice and tidy. Lenny looking really strong right now. Let's see what he's got. Coming through Curva Grande now. Can Lenny just start flexing his muscles here? It's a kind of an alright first sector, only a 25.9. And he didn't really improve, but going very wide on the exit of De La Rogia will not help you at all now through the Lesmos. He's definitely lost a little bit of time. Using all of the exit of the Lesmo 1, though. Very nice and tidy. Doing the same with Lesmo 2. Really keeping it within those white lines. He's doing a good job. But I think that mistake through De La Rogia might hurt Lenny's chances of getting a purple lap. Yes, he is a 10th and a half down. Max AMG! What is this? Where did that come from for the Ferrari? He's 2/10 off pole. What the heck? That is an amazing lap from the Ferrari driver. He's looking to have his best qualifying performance of the season. A lot of drivers coming in to make a statement today. Max has not had the best of runs. Lenny, meanwhile, I think backed out of his lap. Yeah, he invalidated through Ascari. Not his best work, but Max AMG up into the front row. And second through fourth place, all within a 10th for each other. And Patrick in the Alpha Tauri does a 17.9 and almost puts it on pole. Where did that lap come from? Patrick and Max AMG coming out of nowhere and dropping the hammer down on the rest of the field. Fantastic stuff. His teammate Kev Jennings is up to 7th right now. He's a half a second off of pole, granted, but still. Patrick on the front row. Max AMG, who was previously in P2, did a phenomenal lap. Gets usurped by Patrick. How about that? Now if you're Jan Fehler and the likes of him and Christian Sendel, you got to be thinking, okay, now is the go time. Because the rest of this field is clearly very, very close to their pace, and it could hurt their chances of coming back in the championship or stealing a win from Lenny. Who else is currently on a Christian Sendel? Is he currently on a flyer? Yes, he is. He is 5/10 up on his lap. If he can keep this going, he's purple through the middle sector. Oh, he invalidates Ascari. The Alfa Romeo driver was over half a second up, and he was on track to potentially put it on the front row, but it's not staying within the white lines. On strict corner cutting is curtains for this run. I think he's going to come back to the pits. He's got time for another run, so might as well just wait till the track is optimized. Here's another driver that's out on track that we can hug and take a look at. Let's go back and look at F1 Racer in that nice black Mercedes. Personally, I'm a huge fan of the black livery over the silver. The silver just was kind of like, bleh. This thing is very, very clean. But it looks like F1 Racer may have backed out there. Or had some little bit of rear wheel spin on the exit there. It kind of looked like he had some issues with the revving. He is a quarter of a second up, improving. He could shoot into the top 5 right now. What does F1 Racer have? A little squirmy, though, going through Ascari. I don't think that was fully ideal, that's for sure. But what does the Mercedes driver have in him today? What can the German do? Coming out of Parabolica now, using all of the track and hugging that inside line so it's the shortest distance possible. F1 Racer up into 5th place with a 1:18.1. The lap times are coming in, and they are coming in hot. Not sure if F1 Racer has enough time. I don't think he has enough time to make it back to the pits and go out again. So as long as that timing tower is right, F1 Racer will not improve for the rest of the session. Currently sitting in P5 in a very close cluster of cars. Tisu, who was the first driver to set a lap, currently invalidated his best attempt. Was not really improving by a whole lot. But does he have enough fuel to go again? I don't think he's got enough time. He might have enough time to get into the pits now with 3 minutes left. I think he'll have just enough time to do one more lap. Also on track, got Max ANG and Kev Genix. Max in the first of the two, trying to get it back on that front row, or maybe even challenge it for pole. Lenny's, for the first time this season, I think, looking like he's under threat of not starting on pole, as the drivers around him have been looking phenomenal so far in qualifying. But it's all coming down to the crunch time now. 2.5 minutes left to go in the session. Drivers starting to leave the pits. Both Haas drivers out on track. Got a Renault of Blue out on track as well, but Max AMG is going to be the first one in the queue. F1 Racer certainly is going to return to the pits now. I don't think he's got enough fuel for another run. And here we go. What does the Dutchman have? He's going to have a little bit of traffic, it seems, as the McLaren and the Williams are leaving the pits right now. Max starting on all the way on the left-hand side, so he can build up as much top speed as he can. Let's keep an eye on this lap from the Ferrari driver. Can he put it on the front row or even pole? We'll have to wait and see. He's going to have a little bit of traffic. Might get a little bit of slipstream here. Jan Failer's going to have to move. Yeah, there goes Failer moving out of the way, ensuring that his rival, who's currently one position up, does not get that slipstream from him. Now, what does Max do through the first sector? It's a 25.9, so a couple hundred slower than his previous best, but relatively clean-looking Della Roggia. He ate the sausage curb enough. Didn't really unsettle the car, using all the track limits there on the exit of Lesmos 1. Now through Lesmos 2, got to carry as much speed as possible. Short shifting up to 6 there. That is an interesting move. Let's see if that works out for him now on the run to Ascari. He's at a 51.9. He's a 10th improving. Can Max AMG keep this momentum going through Ascari? No, he does not. Oh, and that is curtains for this lap. I'm not sure if he has enough fuel to go again. But the Ferrari driver loses the rear end where his teammate did, and it's looking like he will not improve on this run as he is retired from the session. Unfortunate luck for the Dutchman. Behind him, though, pretty sure Patrick's not allowed. Kev Genix is currently on a lap right now. Not sure how much of an improvement it is, if it is one, but Kev Genix coming barreling through Parabolica now. Can he improve from P8 on the grid? Any kind of improvement should be a jump up the board. Yes, he goes up to 7. He jumps Fernandez, the Brazilian, who has not improved since his first run. But now, drivers beginning their final flying lap. It's either Regas or Johan. Johan, currently 3.5 tenths up on his lap, trying to not start in 12th position. We'll see what the Haas driver do. The Haas team really looking for some good results. I mean, they've really struggled this season, unfortunately, but can the two teammates finally find some momentum here as he goes very wide, almost invalidates as F1 Racer gets the checkered flags. That is the end of the session, and Johan improves by 7 tenths. He's up to P6. Behind him is Blue. Can Blue improve on his final run? He goes up to 6, knocking Johan back down to 7th. We got the Mercedes F1 Racer currently on track, but it says he's got the checkered flags already. That is a little weird. Not sure what happened there. Regas up to P10. Behind them is Fernandez, the Brazilian, who has invalidated his lap, unfortunately. What about Jan Failer? Jan Failer currently improving, I believe. Let's see what the McLaren driver can do. Can he get higher up? Jan Failer does a 17.7. That's provisional pole. Behind him, I believe, is Christian Sendel coming out of the final corner. Christian Sendel improving by over 6 tenths through the middle sector alone. Can Christian knock off the German? Yes, he does. He goes up the pole, but what does Lenny do? And Lenny retaking pole position with a 117.6. Does Patrick have an answer? No, he does not. He has invalidated his lap. And that is the qualifying session. All of a sudden, at the end of the session there, it all started. Fireworks started going off. Jan Failer piping Lenny on initially at first glance, but then Christian Sendel saying, no, I will take that pole position. And then Lenny coming through at the last of the three of them and retaking pole position with a 117.6. The Renault driver starting from pole once again. How about that? What a session. Fernandez, unfortunately, did not improve, dropped all the way down to P10. But a fantastic session for the top 3. Also a fantastic lap by Max AMG as well, as he will be starting in P5, Patrick starting in P4. So the 2 drivers respectively, very good laps from them. It looked like Max had a chance to steal pole position for a while there, but it all went horribly wrong through Ascari. Either way, Lenny on pole with 117.6. Christian Sendel second place with 117.69. Jan Fehler in 3rd. Patrick in 4th. Max AMG in 5th. F1 Racer 6th. Blue in 7th. Johan in 8th. Kev Jennings in 9th. And Fernandez rounding out our top 10. Behind him is going to be Regas, Tisu, and Maestro Hoffy. Maestro, who went off and crashed out through Ascari, hoping to not repeat the fortune during this race. 13-car grid. We'll have to wait and see what kind of action we get here. Should be exciting, though. Yes, those guys up the front. That was absolutely electric stuff. That was the kind of action I was waiting for to see. Like, okay, let's see what happens when they go back and forth. Got some clouds, though. Apparently, it's going to be dry, but there might be a curveball in the mix that we don't know about, or that the drivers might not even know about, period. So we'll have to keep an eye on it now as they load up their setups now. Well, they already have the setups loaded. Who am I kidding? They get the strategy right, making sure that they got the right pit window. They're starting on the right tires if they're outside the top 10, and they got enough fuel in the car. Because this track does use a lot of fuel. Drivers will definitely be running enriched a lot, but interestingly enough, the engines in this game like to overheat a lot. And so, question is, if you're kind of stuck in a DRS train, and you expect to be, do you use less fuel and just run lean? That's going to keep that engine cool, keep your top speed up. We'll have to wait and see what some of these drivers choose to do. Unfortunately, we will never be able to see how much fuel a driver has in the car unless that red light indicates when they're negative on fuel. So that's an unfortunate feature that we don't get to see as the drivers have started to ready up. So we're on the grid here for round number 6 here in Monza, halfway through the season. It's been a very fun one so far. Like I've said, the Frenchman of Lenny has been absolutely electric all season long. Can he go 5 for 6 on the race victories, or will he get usurped by Christian or Fehler, who look like the biggest challenges? But we'll have to wait and see now. Lights are going out for the formation lap. You can see the game predicting soft, medium, and soft, hard strategies. Now, I would not assume anyone would do the hards unless it's a lap on pit, which they can go to the end. We're going to go here. We're going to look up the let's look at the kind of starting tires going on. So top 11 all on softs, 12th and 13th on mediums. So what we've seen in the past here at AOR, when drivers have started on the medium compound tire, they've had some pretty good luck with the strategy. They were able to keep the DRS and keep with the front guys, and they challenged later on in the race. But around this track, the soft medium strategy seems to just, be a lot more balanced than the reverse strategy than other tracks like Bahrain Short or Suzuka per se. So we'll have to wait and see now. Hopefully for Tisu's and Maestro Hoffy's sake, they have themselves a very good race. So we would love to see them both have a good result. Tisu looking to get his first points of the season, while Maestro Hoffy, on the other hand, also looking to get his first points of the season as well. It's 2 drivers outside looking in. Looking to get points. Fernandez down in P10. We're getting on the podium in Bahrain Short and telling us how electric it went. Down in P10, but he's had some really good race pace in the last few races, so let's see if he can claw his way through the field. But with how tight knit it is, it's going to be a very close one. I expect to see a huge DRS train. My question is, who will dump battery and try to break it first, as there's a Ferrari using the grass to warm up his tires. That's Max AMG. I'm not sure if that'll really get the right temperature you're looking into the tires, but hey, if you're going to mow the car, maybe pick up a little bit of grip or something that we don't know about, then by all means, I applaud you to that. So here come the drivers now out of the final corner as they line up onto the grid for round number 6 here in Monza, here at the Temple of Speed. Come onto the grid nice and slowly. They are putting them in their grid slots. Lenny on pole. Christian Sendel to his right. Gonna have the inside for turn 1, but have to wait and see. Hopefully everyone makes it through this first few laps cleanly. As here we go, the lights are going on. Let's see if we can get a better camera view. There we go from Jan Fehler. Got 2 lights. 3, 4, 5. And go, go, go. We are underway here in Monza. Christian Sendel with a good launch. Jan Failer with a beautiful launch. He's looking to try to get around Christian Sendel offline. Lenny able to hold on to the lead, giving Jan a little bit of toe. Looks like Patrick really defending that inside line into turn one. They're going double file in the background, keeping it nice and clean. Look at that. Double file. The Mercedes of F1 Racer put into the gravel by Max AMG. He's struggling for grip. He's going to drop down the order and go all the way back into last position. Tisu with a phenomenal start. He's up to 9th position. Lenny holding on to the lead as Christian Sendel was able to hang it around, or up the inside and then around the outside through Retrophilia chicane. Now he's on the rear diffuser of Lenny. Can he challenge for the lead on lap 1? You'll have to keep an eye on it. In the background, Regas and Fernandez going side by side through Lesmos 1, with Fernandez demoting Regas out of the points for the time being. Back towards the front, though, Christian Sendel looking pretty close behind Lenny. He's showing himself some serious pace here today at Monza. The two of them are already 7 tenths away from Jan Failer. It's going to cause some drivers to use more ERS than they want. F1 Racer, the only one not in the current DRS range, but DRS does not open until lap 3. So we'll have to see now if the drivers can keep this train up. Christian Sendel kind of conserving his battery, I would presume. Just going to let Lenny kind of lead the field as he goes purple for the first lap. We got timing board going everywhere. Lenny did not just get dropped all the way down the order. DRS is not enabled as it is only lap 2. A little bit of desync though by the Renault driver. Not sure what's going on there. Showing desync with Fernandez as well, but they should be good. Fernandez currently running inside the top 10, I believe. Yes, that is Maestro Hoffy, Racer, and who else though? One of the Haas's, it looks like. Hard to tell. We'll see what the timing table does once all the drivers get through this first sector. And there we have it. Fernandez currently with Regas behind. Tisu with a very good start though, up to 9th position on the medium compounded tire. The Red Bull really getting a good launch, having a good first few corners. As you can see, the timing table is definitely whacked with the intervals, so we're just gonna have to do what we can. If we keep it on leader, I think it'll work. Yeah, we'll keep it on leader. I think that's the best we'll be able to do at this time. Crucially, all the drivers basically within DRS range of each other. F1 Racer even at the back, I believe, is in DRS range of Maestro Hoffy. So we've got the whole field right now on one train, led by this man here, the Frenchman of Lenny PNR. We're starting lap 3. DRS will be enabled this lap, and it should be exciting. Goes purple with a 121.5 of Jan Failer sets that back in 3rd, so I guess got a little bit of extra slipstream that helped him out on that lap. And now here we go. The telescope now. Yeah, there we go. The interval is much better. F1 Racer, though, crucially, must have made a mistake through a Ascari, like when we left him, because he is now 1 second behind Maestro Hoffy, but he's got it back in. He's back into 0.9. So there's a mistake by the Brazilian Fernandez. What's going on? The Williams driver, he lost the rear end. Now he got mugged by Regas. He's got Maestro Hoffy going up the inside, and Fernandez getting relegated 2 positions now to 12th place. But crucially now, Regas is not in DRS as Tisu. He's got to really push a lot now if he wants to get back into it. He's really trying his 1.2 right now. The Haas driver could be in a bad position now because Fernandez made that mistake. 1.4 behind. The Haas driver needs to push and to get in DRS zone, otherwise the back 4 in the grid will definitely struggle as the race carries on. 1.3 is the gap to the Red Bull driver up ahead on the mediums too, which is very, very crucial to note now. But back up towards the front, Lenny still leading the way, keeping Christian Sendel at bay. So Lenny first, Christian Sendel P2, Jan Failer in 3rd, and then Patrick up into 4th position. With the Ferrari of Max AMG behind, getting that nice white and blue AlphaTauri livery. Having a pretty strong day. We've seen him and Kev Jennings. They've had good outings before, but it seems that like we haven't seen them have their complete ones, as Patrick only has. How many points does he have? I think he only has 4. Yeah, he only has 4 to his name as of, well, 2 weeks ago. So Patrick looking to have his best result of the season by far. Currently, the outside looking in on the podium. But Tisu now, the Red Bull, losing DRS to Kev Jennings. This could also be a game changer. That Red Bull needs to get the DRS now, but Regas has fallen back in, but being on the mediums, he needs it. Did Johan lose the DRS as well? Hard to tell from this camera angle. Johan did it well. He's going to be under attack from Kev Jenks. Kev Jenks go for the move into Ascari. Thinks better of it and backs out at the last second. But now here on lap 4, drivers starting to break DRS from one another. But here we go. Fernandez picking up a 3-second time penalty to the first of what I assume to be many, as the track limits here are definitely very easy to pick up warnings around. But up at the front, Christian Sendel almost a second behind Lenny. We'll keep an eye on this battle here. Kev Jenks now dumping the battery down the main straight. Looks like crucially behind Tisu draining all his battery, but now Kev Jenks to the right-hand side of the track with the DRS enabled makes the easy overtake over the Haas driver of Johan. Kev Jenks up into 7th. Johan down to 8th for the time being. That brings Tisu back into DRS range for the, well, it was, and then he's got a horrible first chicane. Not sure what happened to the Red Bull in the background, but he kind of just got dropped there. He was within a second, but he had no launch. He might be out of battery. Is he completely out of battery? He is. That is not good if you are in the Red Bull garage right now. Tisu already out of battery here on lap 5. He's going to lose a lot of time to the drivers up ahead, not having that extra horsepower. You might think about maybe letting Reyes through and pulling him along. We'll have to see what he does. Meanwhile, By Blue in 6th place right now. An alright start to the race, to say the least, but looking a little quick behind Max AMG. He's been closing in on this gap on the Ferrari, but he has not been close enough. Very hard to overtake when in these trains. Like, it makes you kind of like go crazy at times, because if the car in front of you's got DRS, you got DRS, it's kind of just like a standoff. But Patrick, look at this. Will he get DRS? He's out of the range. He's at 1 second. He's over a second right now. Is he going to get DRS? They had the AlphaTauri driver make a mistake that's going to cost him DRS. Crucially, he does not have DRS. Now Jan Fehler up ahead will be able to get that extra straight line speed. Patrick going to fall into threat to Max AMG. Patrick also out of battery as well. The drivers really pushing on this early stage of the race, using all the battery that they can. And the pace is very strong. In the background, Tisu under threat from Reyes. Reyes kind of pushed onto the curbing, though Tisu not leaving any space. But here we go on the traction zone on the exit. Mr. Hoffey looking to make a double overtake here. Here we go. Rebels leading the Ferrari, kind of towing him along. They're going to go 3 wide into Della Roggio. The Ferrari trying to find the way around. The Red Bull covering the inside. The Haas nowhere to go. And Mr. Hoffey trying to go around the outside. Tisu putting up a stellar defensive job here in the Red Bull. And he, as a result, will hold on to the position. Mr. Hoffey, though, down to 10. There's F1 Racer up the inside of Fernandez. The Mercedes driver getting a move on after having that horrible first lap and getting shoved off. And now they both have DRS. Does Fernandez have an answer? He's really right on that rear diffuser. I don't think he's going to be close enough into Ascari to make the overtake stick at this time. What fantastic stuff we're seeing for the battle for 9th position now. But they are now crucially 4 seconds off of Johan. So they have lost touch with the leading pair, and the more they battle, the more it's going to hurt these guys. So we'll have to see if any kind of strategy goals get put in. But we'll keep an eye now. We're going to go back up to Max AMG. The Ferrari gaining on the AlphaTauri up ahead. He's going to gain. He's going to go to the left-hand side. He's going to try to go around the outside, which becomes the inside. But it does not matter. The Ferrari, but he locks up. He is up ahead. He has the position, and Max AMG up into 4th. His teammate, meanwhile, has cleared the Red Bull, so 2 Ferraris making 2 overtakes down the main straight. Reyes picking up a time penalty. Behind it, Tisu. I didn't see him if he cut the corner or not, but unfortunately, the game said no. As Maester now is the lead driver on the mediums, looking to pull that reverse strategy. Towards the front, Christian Sendel. Barely in DRS range of Lenny, but Cruci Jan now in no man's land. He doesn't have a driver in his DRS, but he does not have DRS up ahead. Drivers up front really starting to flex their muscles here. Christian Sendel barely able to stay in Lenny's DRS. Lenny showing that phenomenal pace that we've seen all season long. As we go back towards that battle for 11th now, look at Reyes really gaining on Tisu. I think starting to recover a little bit of battery now that he is getting DRS. But Reyes not close enough into Ascari to make the move on the Red Bull up ahead. Now going through out of Ascari and into the run to Parabolica, the Mercedes of F1 Racer. Will he maybe have a sniff at overtaking Reyes? We'll have to see. The number 29 Mercedes right behind that Haas. He's really started to come alive here once he caught up to the drivers after having that early issue. As Christian Sendel has left the session. Oh, what has happened? Is he disconnected or something? That's huge. He's going to have to quickly get back into the session, as right now he's going to lose time left and right. He was so close to Lenny. He was within the DRS, and now he's already lost the DRS. We're going to have to keep an eye on when he returns, but that is heartbreaking stuff for the German, who must certainly probably get swamped by Jan Fehler now. Fehler almost in DRS range, now within DRS range already. Christian Sendel's AI is just costing him time hand over fist. But this is the break that Lenny needed. Lenny able to pull away now that he is no longer under threat. Question is, will Christian Sendel be able to join very, very quickly? We'll have to keep an eye on it now. The Jan Fehler up to P2 now. Christian Sendel down to P3. That is to be expected. Max AMG will also be a huge benefactor to this disconnection, as he will pick up the final podium place at this time. Meanwhile, Fernandez looking to try to get around F1 Racer. He's kind of stuck at the back of this 5-car train. It's the second group of cars. We got the first main group, and then we got these guys in the back, led by the medium runners. But now the pit window is going to start opening up on lap 8. So not this, like, end of this lap, but now we're on lap 9. Wait, I thought we were just on 7. I do apologize. Apparently I'm messing things up, but right now, lap 9. So the pit window is most certainly up. Question is Christian Sendel gonna be able to get back into the lobby? Did they have a whole disconnect? We don't know. To see if I can get him invited. Now see if I can get him into the lobby. Don't know if he just did not have a backup or whatnot, but let's get him in. Let's see, but it's heartbreaking now for the Alfa Romeo team. He's having such a good race. Now he's down into P number 7. But like I was saying, benefactors is Max AMG, who's still trying to pull along Patrick and Blue, but he's now up to 3rd, and we're gonna have a nice spicy battle for the final podium spot. Question is now, will Jan Fehler be able to catch up to Lenny? Lenny's had some really good pace on the softs, but will he be able to pull an undercut here now? At the end of the lap 9, expect to see some drivers into the pits this time around. Lenny stays out. Jan into the pits. Crucially, Max AMG into the pits. So is that Kev Jennings? No. The AlphaTauri boys stay out. Who is that other car? Blue's into the pits, as well as Johan. So 4 drivers pitting this lap. No, 6 drivers, just Fernandez and Racer also into the pits now. Will anyone get held? Hopefully not, but we'll keep an eye on it. Christian Sendel has rejoined the lobby. The Alfa Romeo driver will be able to keep racing on, but he's lost so much time as a result of his disconnection. Hopefully it does not happen again. I'll have to keep an eye. If he disconnects again, I'll send him a backup invite. Did not realize that he did not have one at the time, so I do apologize. You rewatched it, but hopefully he gives us some action. He's shown, it's clearly been like one of the fastest cars on track. And once he is back in his car, I do expect for him to be very racy and to put some pressure on the AlphaTauri boys up ahead. Meanwhile, behind him though, he's got the medium runners of Messerhoff and Tisu, who might benefit now a little bit from some DRS. The interval is a little busted at the moment, so we're just gonna put that away for the time being. What kind of undercut does the likes of Jan Fehler and Max AMG have on the drivers who have not pitted just yet? The AlphaTauri boys, one of them's going to have to stay out and do a full lap once again. They're not going to want a double stack here, and Patrick, as the leading driver, is going to have first choice. So hopefully Kev Jennings does not dive into the pits this time. Lenny into the pits, though. Our race leader will pit, and Kev Jennings stays out as expected. Now the question is, where is Jan Fehler? Can he pull the undercut on Lenny? We'll have to wait and see. The Frenchman currently in his stall. He's moving once again. Jan Fehler coming out of Parabolica now. And Lenny's going to come out miles ahead by the looks of it. Yes, Lenny. Miles ahead. There you can see the orange papaya orange McLaren coming down the main straight. And Lenny, crucially, will retain his lead. Currently running in P4. He's got about, I would assume, like 2 some seconds. 3 seconds, so he gained some time there doing the overcut. 3.2 to Jan Fehler in the background. F1 Racer getting overtaking Rakes, I believe. The Mercedes driver clawing back points slowly and surely. Kev Jennings, only driver to start on the softs who has not pitted yet. He will certainly be into the pits this lap. And then the question is, what kind of pace will Messerhoff and Tisu have in clean air It's going to be tricky. Mr. Hoffey's shown so far that he's been a little bit of the faster of the two, considering his battery management. As Fernandez picks up yet another time penalty. But now Mr. Hoffey currently looking strong, running into second place, which will be first place once Kevjenics pits this lap. But then he's on those old compound tires. Now in the pits, you're going to lose about 23, 24 seconds. So right now, you would probably come out where F1 Racer is on track. If we go ahead and look at the leader. Yes, right now I'd come out around where F1 Racer is at. So Mr. Hoffey having good pace, but he's going to have to need a little bit more if he's going to want to have a chance at possibly stealing some higher points. But now let's keep an eye on Kevjenics. The AlphaTauri driver moving. You see the Jan Failures through. Max AMG is through. Here comes Blue and Patrick. Blue getting an undercut on Patrick. We missed that. Patrick's down in 7th. Kevjenics gets undercut by some of the drivers as well. Johan gets the undercut on Kevjenics. Kevjenics, AlphaTauri drivers, not having the best of luck in the pits, losing several positions each as a result. Patrick down to 7th, Kevjenics down to 9th. And also he's got the ever-quick Christian Sentinel background. Reges trying to go for the move on F1 Racer. Not sure if F1 Racer made a mistake, but the Haas driver up to P11. Trying to secure those first points of the season. Well, not the first points. Reges did have a P6 at Suzuka. I continually forget that, and I do apologize. But Reges now up into 11th, but he does have that time penalty to his name, which is never good. Now, up at the front, Mr. Hoffey and Tisu. They're still driving pretty good. Tisu low on batteries. I don't think he's going to really have a chance at making an on-track overtake without Mr. Hoffey making a mistake. However, he's going to probably start thinking about an undercut soon. I do not know the exact lap they would want to pit. I mean, they could pit in these next couple of laps and probably make it to the end on the softs. But Lenny's not gaining too much on him. He's 8.1 behind. I think he was like 10 when he came out of the pits. And you would expect him to be gaining a little more as he does a 121.2. So from electrifying pace from the Frenchman. Now, interesting, at the start of last lap, Failure was 3.2 behind. He's 3.3 behind at the end of that lap. So even though Lenny just went purple, fastest overall, Jan is still not getting dropped. So as Reges and F1 Racer swapping positions yet again. Wonder if there's any kind of teamwork when as Christian Sentinel crashes again. Let me see if I can re-invite him here. But this could be curtains for his race if he continues to have this issue, as he'll just keep losing time hand over fist. I don't see him online. I'm going to send him a backup invite one more time. But heartbreaking stuff for the German driver, who looked so promising. Looked like it's possibly steal a win even. But all of that does not matter anymore, as his disconnects has hurt him much. But anyways, back to the action on track. Patrick closing in on Blue. Blue having a very good race in the Renault in net P4. And you can see the final podium spot up ahead in the form of Max AMG. Question is now, he does have a very racy AlphaTauri behind. Patrick looking to gain a little bit more now. Coming through Parabolica and onto the main straight. Patrick within 4/10. Might try to go for the ERS dump, go for the overtake. Yes, there he is, deploying the battery. He's got a lot of overspeed on the Renault up ahead. He's going to go to the right-hand side of the track, the inside line for turn 1. And Patrick is through and up into 6. Blue down to 7th. Christian Sentinel goes fastest overall. I believe that was his AI, though, which I don't know why the AI is going fastest overall, but it is what it is, I guess. That is one of the more spectacular things to happen, I guess you could say. But up towards the front, Mr. Hoffey, TC. Now they're starting to lose a little bit more time now. Their tires starting to dry off. And, ooh, crucially, Blue picks up a 3-second time penalty. That will definitely help Patrick. So now he knows he's got a little bit of a cushion behind. Blue. Really struggling, it seems, all of a sudden. He was looking really good. Now he's starting to struggle. He still got 2.5 to Johan, who also has a time penalty in Kevjenics. But right now he moves out to our AlphaTauri, Kevjenics. So we'll have to wait and see Blue. And you can't forget, you got the guys on the reverse strat. Still lapping relatively quick at the front, but they are starting to lose a little more time as their tires really have definitely seen better days. As Christian Sentinel has been relegated to last place due to his AI, unfortunately taking over. There he is, returned again, so maybe he'll actually be able to set in their fastest lap. So back to Lenny. Let's keep an eye on the Frenchman now. He's 5.6 behind. So again, we don't know exactly when the Ferrari and Red Bull up front will pit. But if he keeps on this pace, he should catch them in about 5 laps, which I'd assume they'd pit by then. But we never know. Genetics, meanwhile, making the overtake on Johan into turn 1. The AlphaTauri driver up into 8th. But now he's 3 seconds behind Blue. So right now, Blue safe from Genetics. But for how long is the question? As you can see, they're already to 2.9. The timing board going whack once again. Not sure what the game is doing today, but it just does not like us at the moment. Meanwhile, go back up to the other battle again. The other AlphaTauri, Patrick and Blue. Giving some close action. Also, the background F1 Racer leading Reges and Fernandez. These drivers hit. Once he got F1 Racer, kind of got through Reges and Fernandez, which took a while. Hasn't really been able to close up on the drivers up ahead. He had some good qualifying pace, but looking like so far the race just hasn't really gone to plan. Well, Maestro Hoffy or Tisu, one of them dive into the pits this lap, end of lap 15 perhaps. The Ferrari looking like he was gonna, hugging the right-hand side, but he is staying out for another lap with the Red Bull driver in tow. Lenny now, 4.8. He got a second out of him that lap. Frenchman flying. Jan Fehler also only 2.8 behind Lenny, so the German gaining, but he's out of ERS. So going for that huge battery dump. The question is, how much battery does Lenny have? If we take a look here, Lenny's got almost a full tank, while Fehler almost out. So the German really pushing really hard, but it's not looking like he's going to catch at this moment in time. Christian Sendal has retired from the session. He DNF'd in the pits. I think he realized that due to the amount of disconnects he has, there's no point in continuing. So that is always unfortunate to see happen. But thankfully, it's a pit in retirement. We can resume racing on track. Let's take a look now. Let's go back to that battle for P10. Now, points bank position. F1 Racer currently sitting in the prime seat because he does not have a penalty, and he's in 10th place. But Reges and Fernandez looking to get some points out of this one. Fernandez definitely not having a reversal of fortune to last race. Just hasn't seemed like he's had his best result, that's for sure, today. But we'll see what the Brazilian can do. Now sitting up behind Reges, up towards the front now. Are either drivers going to come in at the end of lap 16, perhaps? Yes, both of them into the pits. Our race leader, Mr. Hoffy and Tisu. Both drivers on the reverse strategy into the pits now, getting off of those mediums for a fresh set of soft tires. I would never think anyone would pit on the hards this late in the race. And there you have it. So the two drivers in the pits now. You can see there's Max AMG as it looks like Tisu got held a little bit there by the Ferrari, which he's not going to be too happy about. He might be fluttering out of DRS range as a result. You can see here they coming out with the cluster of F1 Racer and Reges, so kind of where they were before on track. So that's a pretty good, it's actually a lot better for Hoffy compared to Tisu. Hoffy coming out right behind F1 Racer, and now unfortunately was not able to get around it, but Tisu at the back of this train that's been very racy all race. So we'll have to see what the Ferrari can do. Can he get a move on and clear the driver up ahead? But now everyone has pitted. Mr. Hoffy gaining a lot on F1 Racer. Will he go for the move through Della Rogia? No, I think he's going to wait for a possible move into a start, because he needs to get a move on, get around F1 Racer so he can start hunting down the other Haas up ahead and not have to look at the one Haas in his mirror. Here we go now on the run down the back straight. Patrick picking up a 3-second time penalty. That evens the table. And Max AMG picking up a 3-second time penalty as well. So 3, 4, and 5 all with time penalties. And there you can see in the background Tisu trying to make a move on Fernandez, but there's nothing doing. Hoffy picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. 3 drivers picking up time penalties in the last 10 seconds. Definitely will change things up. Genetics now looking really good to steal something for Tisu. Getting the move on the exit of Ascari. Gets the move done on Fernandez. And the Red Bull driver up into P11. He's going to go for Reges now before the DRS detection zone. Look at this. Tisu going to go for 2 for 2 on straights. He's got the run. It's looking like he's not going to get any help from toe from up ahead, but Tisu using that fresh rubber, braking very, very late, trying to go up the inside of F1 Racer as well. F1 Racer got cleared by Mr. Hoffy. Tisu going around the outside now, which is now the inside for Curva Grande. But the Red Bull driver, he's still alongside Racer, leaving him the space. It's going to give him the run. He's got the shorter run into Della Rogia. And the Red Bull driver going to go around the outside into the corner. He has the apex. Tisu up into 9th position, making 3 fantastic overtakes there to keep with Maestro Hoffy. He's out of DRS range of the Ferrari up ahead. But he might keep pushing and be able to pick it up in a few corners time. He's definitely using the battery there. There he is. He's trying to get back into DRS as much as possible. Make sure Hoffey up ahead. Still has a decent amount of his battery. Tisu was able to charge a lot in the pits there, which is definitely helping his progress and helped him clear F1 Regas and Fernandez, who might get pulled back in as well. Got to keep an eye on if they can keep in DRS range of the Red Bull. Now towards the front, by Blue. Still a half second behind Patrick. Nothing going at the moment. He's kind of just been sit in tow, harvesting ERS. So very good ERS management from the Renault drivers, I believe, today. Yeah, 41%. It's pretty strong at this point. Also towards the front, Lenny losing time to Jan Fehler. The gap is down to 2 seconds now. Jan really looking strong in the later stages of the race. In the background, though, we got Regas trying to go up the inside of F1 Racer. They make a little bit of contact on the apex. Regas leaving F1 Racer's space, though, and Regas will go through around the outside of the second part of the Ratifilia chicane. Now through Curva Grande, Regas up to P10 for that final point-spending position. I mean, F1 Racer will still get it back after penalties are applied, but I'm sure he would much rather have that position on track and just due to penalties, especially if one of them gets removed. We'll keep an eye on the battle that might be brewing up towards the front. 1.9 seconds of the gap from Lenny to Jan. Lenny flying right now. He's got a lot more battery. Jan looking very quick right now. Really starting to reel in the freshman a little bit every lap. So we'll keep an eye on this now as Lenny starts lap number 20. So 8 laps to go. Can the Renault driver hang on? I think he should. As we've seen some electronic face, might go for a battery dump here to pull out the gap, which is currently sitting at 2 seconds. Also, Major Hoffey, currently only 4.4 behind Johan. He's got Tisu 1.7 behind, and Tisu has dropped Regas, who is now 2.7 behind. So the drivers, so there goes Major Hoffey, fastest overall on the softs. Bible and Patrick, meanwhile, this is the battle for 4th position, going side by side through the Ratifilia chicane. And here we go, on the exit, it looks like Patrick's going to hang on with now the inside line for Curva Grande, but Blue really using that battery there. He's trying to hang it around the outside of Curva Grande. Not your normal overtaking spot. He's still there, though. And now into the braking zone of Della Roggia. Patrick hangs on to 4th place this lap. And this time around, but Blue, though, really is trying to spice things up and get a move on so he can possibly attack Max AMG final podium position. But that also started to bring in Kev Genetics, who's only 1.3 behind the Renault. So Blue's going to have to pick and choose his battles if he wants to carry on. But right now, drivers having a good day right now. Meister Hoffey and Tisu up into 8th and 9th after starting 12th and 13th respectively. Christian Sendel, with our only retirement of the race after having 2 disconnects, decided to safely retire in the pit lane. It's the driver who was looking very racy had to unfortunately retire, but now looking at Blue here, he's really close. He's just over 3/10 behind Patrick now through Parabolica. He's going to get a nice toe now up to 4/10. So it looks like Patrick gets the power down a little bit better. But there you can see the overspeed coming again. The Renault driver in the tow. Here he goes to go to the left-hand side. Patrick coming to the inside, but Patrick is out of battery. And Blue trying to swoop around the outside. Patrick braking very late. Both of them leaving just enough space. And on the exit, ooh, Patrick gets a little bit of grass, which is going to cost him this time around. And Blue has the position up to P4. But now, look at this. 3.6 is the gap to Max AMG up ahead, which that will certainly keep that Ferrari in that 3rd place podium position after time plays are given. But now Kev Genetics has entered into the fight for number 4. Battle here between Blue and the 2 Alpha Tauris. We'll have to see how this goes. The Alpha Tauris have been really good this season at working together when making overtakes. We'll have to wait and see if they can do that yet again. But you can see Patrick now really trying to get past Blue. He's trying to go to the inside of Scari, or he's going to go back in tow. He's going to go back in tow. Camera making us think that for a second there, he was going to go for a side-by-side battle. It's Kev Genetics. There we go. He picks up a 3-second time penalty. So now this battle is game on. Each driver with 3 seconds of time penalties. Definitely not what Kev Genetics wanted, as he was going to have 2 free positions out of that, but instead he's going to have to fight for it. But speaking of fighting for it, Jan Fehler still fighting at the front, still really pushing. This is 1.8 behind Lenny. You can see there Blue trying to break the tow. Moves to the right, then moves back to the left. He's going to have the racing line for the corner. Patrick not close enough this time around. Kev Genetics getting really close into the brakings to his teammate. Definitely would not want to see any kind of closure there. Meister Hoffey in the background. He is a second behind Johan, so he's running down the Haas driver. He's having one of his better performances of the season. Haas team's looking to pick up some points right now, sitting in a double points paying position finish, but Reguez with that time penalty will get relegated behind F1 Racers. Blue picks up a second time penalty. Blue picking up a time penalty shortly after Kev Genetics does will guarantee the AlphaTauri boys through. Maestro Hoffy, meanwhile, oh, he's through because Johan's round. TC and Johan's round. He has a broken front wing. He lost the rear end on the exit of Della Roggia, and he's going to rejoin the track. He's going to certainly have to come into the pits, but right when we were talking about how the Haas team was having such a good race, I commentator curse him, and it goes to tears. I do apologize for that, Johan, if you watch this back. But now, Johan, there's no safety car, just some yellow flags. Now Johan will have to come into the pits, but that promotes now Reguez. His teammate will get a position out of that and should be able to finish in the points. So that is the flip side of it. One Haas struggles, the other one improves. But now here, let's look at the battle for P4. Kev Genetics gaining on his teammate a lot. Let's see what kind of battery level he's got going on. He's got 40%. He's got a lot of battery, but he's not really looking to attack his teammate, it seems, at this time. To probably working together and trying to figure out what's the best way that they can both get through on Blue outside of the time penalty as is. Now, Maestro Hoffy, 3 seconds behind these two, or these three. He's still kind of in the picture. He does have that 3-second time penalty. So, as Johan retires in the pit lane from the session, no surprise there doing to his damage. But now, back onto the battle on track. If Maestro Hoffy can get within that 3 seconds of Blue, he can pick off another position and hurt Blue's race that's been going really well. The Renault drivers had just done a great job today. It's looking like he's going to have a couple position robbed due to those pesky track limits. Speaking of pesky, Jan Fehler still being a little pesky to Lenny. So 1.9 is the gap. It's been about the same for these last like 7 or 8 laps. And he's been flying up at the front. But Lenny currently on track to go 5 for 6. An absolutely dominant performance yet again from the Frenchman. But now he's got to hold on for 4 more laps here to go here at Monza at the Temple Speed. Hang on, folks. This one is definitely not over. Now Patrick trying to attack Blue once again. He's going to go the inside line, the right-hand side of the track. He's got the DRS and the ERS, and he will have the position before the braking zone. Patrick up to P4, locking up a little bit there. Blue down to P5. The more these guys battle, the more likely Maestro Hoffy catches sooner. Kev Genetics looking to also mug the Renault. He's really gaining through Curve de Grande here. Not really an overtaking spot. There he goes. He's going to go to the inside line for Della Roggia, but Blue breaks very late. Kev Genetics pulls out of it at the last second and holds on to P6. But looking a little spicy here in this battle for 4th position. Maybe get your rival to make a mistake, pick up a time penalty, and then you're back in it. So Blue might be thinking of a few things. Now T2, interesting, does not have a penalty. Down in P8, but he's 3.4 behind Maestro Hoffy, unfortunately. So he's going to have to gain a little bit more if he wants to get that another free position due to penalties. But sitting with 0 penalties at this stage in the race, very impressive job by Tisu, Lenny, Jan, and F1 Racer. So speaking of F1 Racer, now going towards the back, Fernandez caught in 3rd in this train behind F1 Racer with Reguez up ahead, pulling him along. But ooh, F1 Racer getting a little squirmy through a Scari. Will that open up the door for Fernandez? Does not look like it at this time. They'll be holding still, but let's go back up to the battle for P4 now. Patrick pulling Blue along. Kev Genetics, kind of just sitting there in tow. Blue going to go to the left-hand side of the track to try to go around the outside of the first part of the red affiliation chicane, but he breaks a little too late, and as a result, Patrick will hold on to the position and be able to take the corner normally. The driver is holding station. You can see the Ferrari, Maestro Hoffy, gaining on 7-lap-old softs. That still should probably be a little bit better than those older mediums. We'll have to keep an eye on him. Now as he's really coming to life right now, 2 seconds behind this battle here on track. The only other battle within 2 seconds for high points bank position is that battle for the lead, which is definitely not over. That is for sure. 1 foot wrong by Lenny would open the door right up for Jan Fehler, who's currently sitting 1.7, 1.8 behind. Now Kev Genetics, he's really close to Blue, but he just hasn't been able to overtake the Renault. Like his teammate, he's really struggling at this moment. What happened to the recording? playback error. Okay, there's a playback error. Hopefully there's no issues and everyone can hear and see everything properly. Now, as you can see now, Kev Genetics getting a good run out of Ascari. And Kev Genetics going for the inside line now on a Blue. The pair should have DRS due to Patrick up ahead. The question is now, does Blue have an answer? We'll have to wait and see. Blue kind of looking like he's struggling all of a sudden now on straight line speed. And as a result, Kev Genetics up to P5, Blue down to P6. 2 laps to go here. Everything's kicking off. Jan Fehler 1.5 behind Lenny now. Jan on those older tires starting to reel Lenny in once again with Meister Hoffy almost in the DRS of Kev Genet, or of Blue, excuse me. As T2 picked up a time penalty, unfortunately. Looks like I kind of cursed him there in the Red Bull. So he will not be improving much as a result of the penalties around. But meanwhile, let's keep an eye now on this battle for P4. Up at the front though, Lenny only 1.4 ahead of Jan. So Lenny's starting to really struggle here in these last 2 laps of the race. Jan's gotten almost half a second on him this lap alone. Lenny's really going to have to dump that any kind of battery that he has left at this point, otherwise he's going to come under threat for Jan. Jan maybe trying to make a last lap miracle. And Christian, oh, that is unfortunate that you illustrated. We were wondering what happened. I tried to give you the backups, and yeah, we never want to see that. Your race looked so promising. I'm sorry that you had internet issues, unfortunately. But meanwhile, final lap of the race. Lenny 1.6 behind, so starting to dump that battery. Maybe trying to go for a fastest lap attempt or something, saving some tires. But Lenny says it's go time. Meanwhile, behind him, battle for before Kev Genetics trying to overtake his teammate. Both drivers out of ERS. Kev Genetics switching to the outside line. Team orders are off here, and Kev Genetics will break much later. Leave the space on the Apex Forest teammate. Patrick trying to swoop around the outside. The two of them side by side, banging side pods there. Patrick getting the better traction out of the Red Affiliate chicane. Kev Genetics trying to go around the outside of Curva Grande again, though. Both drivers using all their battery, doing everything they can, barely keeping out of each other's sides. There, let's see, going into Della Rosia for one last time, and Patrick holds on to the position this time around. Meanwhile, Meister Hoffy is on that rear diffuser now of Blue. Will he have a sniff? Possibly try to improve his finishing position on, instead of P7, probably get P6 or maybe even P5. We'll have to keep an eye on it now. Up at the front, though, Jan Fehler will not catch Lenny by the looks of it. Lenny going on to win his 5th out of 6 races this season. Absolutely magnificent performance from him. Mr. Hoffman, meanwhile, not close enough to Blue right now to make that overtake. But out of the final corner, ladies and gentlemen, it is Lenny PNR as he wins here at Monza in the Renault. There's a yellow flag on the front straight. I think someone ran out of fuel as they crossed the line, the likes of Jan Fehler or Lenny. Max AMG in the Ferrari. Hats off to you, sir. You get on the podium. Fantastic job by the Ferrari. 4th place will be Patrick by the skin of his teeth. Kev Genetics in 5th. Meister Hoffy up to P6 after penalties are applied. Blue down to 7th in the Renault. Tisu having one of his best results in P8 on the Red Bull. Regas P9. F1 Racer up now to P9. Regas down to P10. And Fernandez rounding out our top 11 finishers today. But on top, once again, all the glory goes to Lenny PNR with the game giving Mr. Hoffy the driver of the day. And he certainly deserved it, that's for sure. Some of the action, some of the overtaking he did, the pace he had on the mediums, I would definitely give Mr. Hoffy one of my drivers today. I mean, the team of the day would have to be the Ferraris. As good as dominant as Lenny was and as strong as Jan was late in the race, both Ferrari boys came to life here with Max getting on the podium and Mr. Hoffy collecting a very nice chunk of points as well for the team. But it was all Lenny here today in the Renault, picking up his 5th race victory of the season. Jan Fehler finishing 2nd place, and Max AMG rounding out our podium today. That's it for folks. You can see the penalties, unfortunately, kind of decided the race for some of the drivers, as likes of Blue, who picked up a 2nd time penalty, struggled because of it. So we're going to go ahead now, and as always, we'll go ahead and get the incident report, just in case any of the drivers decide that they need the race director for any kind of penalty removers or reports. All right, that'll have that done. Now look at the final results one more time. It was a fantastic race here at Monza. We'll see now if any other drivers would like to have a post-race interview. I'll go ahead and pull it up. If not, we'll have to wait and see. Well, yes, fantastic stuff by the drivers. Lenny does now flex his lead at the top of the championship. He will improve on that 51-point gap that he had. But that it does help that Christian Sendel disconnected. Christian will get jumped by Jan, but I believe will remain P3. Jan should move up to P2. And Max AMG will stay 5th. Norbert Jacob will stay 4th because Norbert has 43 to Max's, if I'm correct, 40. So doing some quick math there, we do have a post-race interview. Just give me one sec. In the form of Felipe. Let me just go ahead and get him in here. Hang on. Hello there. How are you feeling after that very interesting race, to say the least?
Yeah, very good. For the first time, I think very good points in the race, and yeah, after such a disappointing qualifying where I think I could have gotten like in the top 4 or something, because in the practice I looked very good in qualifying, but yeah, after disappointing qualifying, very good race result.
Yeah, it was a very nice recovery drive for you. We were keeping an eye on you. Actually gave you my driver of the day thing because you had some very strong pace on the mediums. But when you came out of the pits, now what was going through your head when you saw that huge cluster of cars coming down the straight and barreling towards you? Walk us through that.
Actually, not much. I just focused on my race and try to, put out the good laps on the soft tires and make use of them. And yeah, luckily I was able to get ahead of this train with, I think, F1 Racer ahead of it.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's basically it.
Gotcha. Now it was an interesting race as the field kind of spread out. And I'm a little winded right now, so I apologize for some of the questions. But next week we got Zandvoort. Do you think you can carry this momentum that you got this week and keep it going at Zandvoort, or do you feel it's going to be a trickier track for you? What are your thoughts?
Difficult to say, because I think in league racing in general it's very important to keep that momentum going. But I think I only got a very good pace here in Monza because there was this qualification event for F1 esports, and I practiced for it as well. And yeah, Zandvoort, I don't know really. I actually like the track a lot, but yeah, I need to look when I practice it if I have a good pace or not.
All right. Well, hopefully you will have good pace and you'll have yourself another fantastic job. Great job today, and we look forward to seeing you next week when we go around at Zandvoort. So, thank you very much,
Thank you.
and take care.
Bye. Take care as
Yep.
well.
All right. That was the voice of Maestro Hoffy, and now we'll bring in Jan Fehler, who finished on the podium in P2. Hello, Jan. How are you feeling after that race today?
Disappointed. I think we could have had regardless of my P2 in the end, I think we could have had a great battle for the win, a three-way battle, but then with Christian's internet trouble, only two-way battle, and then with me making that mistake and losing DRS in the first stint, and then also getting held in the pits. Yeah, there was no fight.
Yeah, I was gonna say when Christian disconnected, it kind of seemed to upend things as it kind of screwed you out of DRS. But you had some really good pace there at the end. You were gaining in on Lenny a lot. Did you like notice him making mistakes, or do you feel you were just like lights out there towards the end? Because you gained, I think, well over a second, well before the end of the race. Like, talk us through that part.
Yeah, I mean, after the pit stops, I was very close to, I forgot who was in P3, I think Max.
Yeah.
And very close to giving him DRS, and I just didn't want him to do that. I didn't want him to stick with me. I just wanted to be on my own and focus and try and catch up Lenny. So I had to waste, so to say, a bit of ERS to get rid of him.
Yeah.
Which fortunately worked. And then it was all about trying to catch Lenny and what's the best ERS strategy, by the way, just basically on how to catch him. Obviously, I had no idea what his battery was looking like. But I remember back to the F1 Esports event, the qualifier event for the Challenger Series, which was Monza, and obviously you also had to do a lot of ERS management there.
Yeah.
And I noticed that if you just completely drain the battery to zero, it doesn't actually make too much of a difference in terms of straight line speed in the end. Like, I don't lose too much lap time. So I tried that, and I was gaining a bit, but then I noticed, okay, he was just not using ERS at all, I guess, and then went away by a few tenths again. And then I tried something else where I would save my ERS for 2 laps after being basically at 0%. And then in the third lap, I would just drain it to 0 again, and then save it again, and then put it to 0 again. And all the time every time I did that, I was gaining like half a second on him in total, so to say. But I guess I started too late with that. If I had started like 5 or 6 laps earlier with that strategy, maybe I could have had him in the end, or at least would have been in his DRS, and then just maybe could have done something.
Yeah.
But so I guess maybe different DRS strategy could have worked. I don't know.
I mean, it's definitely an interesting. It's not one I would have ever thought of. That's for sure. With the track being like Monza, I would mentally think, oh, you gotta save it up. But definitely a very smart strategy pulled there. Now, unfortunately, you're gonna have to go to another track where you're gonna have to manage ERS even more in Zandvoort. What are your thoughts about that one upcoming? Because that'll be a lot. I'm pretty sure it'll be a much trickier. I assume.
Yeah, I think at Zandvoort you kind of have to connect to some device that gives you an electrical charge through your body. So every time you press that ERS button, that should be forbidden for the entire race for you until you really have an opportunity, because it's really that bad. You just don't gain any ERS back. Once it's done, it's done. So that's going to be very interesting indeed. And qualifying is going to be very important as well in the pit stop phase. As overtaking in general is, even with ERS, pretty damn difficult around there. So we'll see how that is. But it's a fun track to drive.
Yeah, it is definitely a fun track to drive. I mean, I've saw some fantastic races last season, and I'm sure we'll get another fantastic one next weekend. Look forward to that upcoming. Thank you so much, as always, Jan, for your time, and hope you have a great rest of your day after that very good performance from you.
Yeah, thank you. Have a great evening yourself.
Thank you. Take care.
See ya.
All right, folks, that is it for today. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I hope I did hope I don't sound too dead per se, but thank you everyone for watching today. That has been a feature presentation of Apex Online Racing Hype Energy Formula 1 League's PC F1 tier. We'll be back next week for Zandvoort. I will unfortunately not be in the booth as I will be traveling, but we should be getting a stream up for you guys and running. So stay tuned, as there is more AOR content along the way. Tomorrow we got the ACC League, the Tier 1 racing, and on Tuesday we also have the Tier 2 split being streamed. So be sure to tune in and catch more action here from our ACC League. So thank you everyone, as always, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening.